My video got caught up in a weird spot when I was trying to do this. So we want to go through that wolf spider. So we already made a frequency distribution. We just want to make the histogram now with frequency instead of relative frequency. Our most frequent is 16. So let's say we stopped here, make this 20 and make this 10. I'll just scale on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's not going to be perfect. So the way we were going to do this, so we do the lower class limit is what we write on here. So we would start at 17. And then the next one is at 20. So we would stop at 20. Then the next one is going to start at 23. Then the next one's 26. Right, remember, this is lower class limits we're writing down. 29, 32, 35, and this last class ends at 37.9. So if it was to extend to its next class, that would be at 38. So we just put one more, like sort of like the beginning of what the next class would have been. Okay, so down here this is just the data that is the length of Carolina wolf spiders. I just put Carolina somehow. Carolina wolf spiders. And we're just doing regular frequency first. We're going to make sure those bars are going to be pretty much flush with each other. So from 17 to 19.99, or between 17 and 20, we want up to 16. So about there. We're going to leave enough gap so we can see the break in the bars. Between 20 and 22.9, there was nothing, so we just leave a gap. Between 23 and 25.9, we have a frequency of 7, 5, 6, 7. Trying to eyeball it here, about here. Between 26 and 29, we have 3. That frequency of 3 in here. And then the next two have frequency of 6, the next go two classes. So it was between 29 and 32. And then next one's between 32 and 25. And then my last one was between 35 and what would have been 28. So that would just give 2. So that's what it looks like. So what we see here is we got a big bunch of spiders here, and then a gap, and then a bunch. Usually that's something important in data. Usually when there's gaps, it indicates you kind of have like two populations together. In this case, it's because the male spiders are significantly smaller than the female spiders. What you're seeing here is these are your male spiders, and then there's this gap, and then you get the female spiders. Okay, so if we do this with relative frequency, we'll just get rid of the part I want to get rid of. I'm going to do this. We'll rescale this over here. And so we are looking for relative frequency now. So I'll put our bar here again. So as far as relative frequency goes, we topped out about 50 or 0.5. And that was roughly about here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll put 6 here. That's what we'd see for relative frequency. Just bear in mind, I'm trying to eyeball this, so it may not line up exactly. The other things that we have with histograms, sometimes we have open-ended classes. So this happens when we have something that just keeps going and going and going and going. So sometimes it's necessary for a class to have a no lower limit, or for the last class to have no upper limit. So it could be either side. So such a case is called open-ended. When a frequency distribution contains an open-ended class, the histogram cannot be drawn. Technically, yeah. The frequency distribution represents the number of deaths in the United States due to pneumonia. So what we see here is that we're going like, we got class widths of 15. So we're going up by 15. And we're seeing the deaths keep increasing, increasing. The problem is when we get to 84, what it is we've got a lot of people who are between 75 and 84. We don't have so many people past 84. So what you have here is people who are ranging between 85 to like maybe 119 or something like that would fit in this group. So we usually do this when it's going to be like a very smaller group of people. So we don't have a very large group of people who fit in this age group. So we just keep extending it out and just saying, okay, 85 or older. So we don't have to put a cap on it. So we use it for things that we can't necessarily cap, like ages we can't cap because there's always a chance that somebody can be older than our maximum age. We think we know what it is, but there's always a chance somebody's going to be older. You could also see at this end is like the class keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Histograms for discrete data. So when your data is discrete, meaning, it's things that we can count, like number of children we have here, we can construct a frequency distribution in which each possible value of the variable forms the class. So our class isn't going to be a range of values. If your data is not very spread out and you only have, like I said, and it's discrete, then sometimes we can just label a class for each variable. Number of kids, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could also rearrange this and do like in groups if you wanted to as well. And mostly we're going to do classes, especially when we do some projects and things like that. There may be a few cases where you do this. Like I said, this is just your discrete data. And if your discrete data like was really, really large, we might still go back and put classes in. So we do this when we have discrete data. This data was really spread out, and like we had, I think a good example here would be so like let's say percentages you got on a test. So percentages can't be discrete. You got a 75 or 76. Well, you have 100 different values in there. That data is really, really spread out. So that would be a case where you probably wouldn't do it this way. You'd make groupings. So you say, okay, we're just going to put a grouping of people who got a 0 to a 9, and then people who got a 10 to a 19. That way you'd probably group it. But because this is only going from 0 to 8, it's not as spread out. That's why we can do this as looking at each individual variable. Okay, so as an example, students were asked how many classes they were taking during the fall semester. The data is recorded. We want to create a frequency histogram and frequency distribution and a histogram. I just read that completely wrong. We're only asked for frequency right now. So in this case, it is not very spread out. Everything is discrete. I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where I max out. So as far as like what our classes would be, we have a class of people who are taking 0 credit hours, a one that's people just taking 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it looks like we have two people who are not taking credit hours this semester. We have one, two, three who are just taking one class. How many people are taking two classes? One, two, three, four, five. People taking three classes. One, two, three, four. Taking four classes. Looks like we have three here. Oops, I missed five in here. That's a little silly. Five. I have to move everything. There we go. Every scale that's so it's on here, but we see it. And we have people who are taking 5 credit hours, and then we have one person who's taking 6 credit hours. Okay. Let's make them over here. Pick a different color on the left. A little too much. Let's take scale again. Okay. So we just need to have our classes here. And then we're going to put this here. Okay, so this is going to be a number of classes taken in a semester. And we're going to label like we did before. So we're going to start with 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our greatest frequency looks like 5. So I scale this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for this first class, and we're starting at 0, and we hit before 1, so we're still going to do the same thing. We're going to put between 0 and 1 for that class. We got 2 people are taking 0 classes. We assume because it's discrete, that's going to be the 0 at the end. Here between 1 and 2, that's going to be 3. So we're assuming that it's representing taking 1 class. Between 2 and 3, so we just assume that's representing just 2 classes. And we got 5 people in that category. We have 4 people taking 3 classes. We have 3 people taking 4 classes. We have 2 people taking 5 classes. And we just need this marked out here. Give me the wrong tool. Out here, then this one's going to end at 7. It is not drawing for some reason. Sorry about that. There we go. And then this last class is going to have 1 person in it. So we can look at this data, and like I said, because it's discrete, because we're talking about number of classes, we know that this lower limit is going to be representing this here. So it's telling me that how many people are taking 0 classes? 2. How many are taking 1 class? Well, that'd be 3. How many people are taking 2 classes? That would be 5.